I think facts are less sacred. I think that we used to believe that there was a fact was clearly verifiable. There was a fact that you couldn't take 100 different views of it. And now facts are attacked all the time as not being facts.
Philosophers make a distinction between descriptive facts, which are facts about the way things are, and what we call normative ideas, which are about the way things ought to be. Descriptive facts need to be common ground for conversations about morality to take place in ways that are substantive rather than accusatory. What I find frustrating in conversations about morality in the contemporary environment is a tendency of each side to selectively approach information about the world and use only that in defending the particular moral stance that they take.
The media has contributed hugely to this in a couple of different ways. One is, and now I may be dating myself a little bit, but I can think of when the media and journalism and the communication of information was always fact-checked. When basically what I read may not be absolutely true, but I know it was pretty close to the truth because I could count on somebody checking the facts for it. And the facts now get reinterpreted by large communities, and so there is no such thing as a sacred fact anymore.
One of the most dangerous things is to have information that's actually advertisement masquerade as information that's actually news, or information that's actually an opinion piece masquerade as information that is balanced reporting. And exploiting the willingness of people to sit down, let your guard down, take things in good faith, is the strategy that's used when people try to make opinion or advertisement masquerade as news.
The second thing was, I was exposed to only a limited amount of information. I could process that information. That's what was available to me, and I would have to work hard to find even more information.
Think to somebody back thinking about, an election in the 1950s and 60s. They'll maybe get one newspaper article a day, if they had time to look at it.
Today, the information comes at us at an overwhelming speed. You see it 24-hour news cycles, you see it in the internet, you see it in tweets, you see it. So the issue is not me getting information. The issue now is actually managing and interpreting the information.
Something about the new media and the way we consume it means that we get content only from certain types of people, right? My Facebook feed, which tends to be the news I pick up on, for better or for worse, comes from people who are my friends and my colleagues who tend to mostly share the same political opinions that I do. And that means I'm just not getting content from the other side.
The friendship networks that were available to us used to be constrained by time and space in a way that they no longer are. In some ways, that's fantastic, but the cost of that is that you have the choice of isolation and of putting yourself into an environment where there's uniform agreement about something that may be important to you, but about which there may be controversy. In the same way that the journalistic world used to be a given, you were restricted in time and space, it's now become the case, due to the internet, that you are able actually to select where your news comes from. And the consequence of that is that niches become available for certain kinds of journalism which weren't previously rewarded.
I can get onto the internet, and whatever view I have, almost no matter how wacky it is, I can get into different kinds of social networks with people who agree with me. If I had a belief that only 1 in 1,000 people had, I wouldn't bump into anybody in my daily contacts who had that belief. I can now instantaneously be in contact with 10,000 of them. That's what's different.